I'm going to experiment today with my air fryer, doing something that I never thought might be possible, but I saw a recipe for it. I'm going to try making pizza in my air fryer. I don't see why it wouldn't work. An air fryer is nothing more than a countertop convection oven, so it should work with a few precautions along the way. So let's make air fryer pizza. I'm going to start my dough here. So in a large bowl, I have 4 fluid ounces of water. That's about 120 milliliters. To which I'm going to add a packet of yeast. I need about a teaspoon of yeast, a well-rounded teaspoon. A packet is not going to be too much. So if you want, make it a scant packet. Yeah, that's scant. Okay, and then I don't need to proof that yeast because I just bought it at the store today. So I know that it's fresh. And then I have here 6 ounces of all-purpose flour. 6 ounces is about 170 grams. I'm going to put most of that in there and then more as needed, because you never know with flour. Some flours seem to absorb more water than others, some less. So what I'm looking for is about a 66% hydration. That's water to flour. I'm going to dump the rest of that in, and I may need to use a little bit more. Let me work this in, and I'll see what I've got. So without adding any more flour or any more water, I got a rough dough ball there. I'm going to set that aside and just start kneading this to get it smooth. If it sticks to my hands too much, I can add more flour. I've got a flour duster. And see how much that's sticking? It's a little bit too much. Let me get my flour duster out. Here's my flour duster. That's the thing with flour. You never know how much water it's going to absorb. And that feels pretty good right there. So I'm probably down to about a 63% ratio, which is still very good for bread dough. Okay, I'm going to knead this for a few minutes just to get it smooth. And then what I'm doing by kneading is there are proteins in the flour. And this is all-purpose flour. Bread flour has higher protein content. And what that's doing by kneading is you're linking up the proteins to form gluten chains, and that's what gives dough its springiness and helps it to hold air when it rises. So give me a few minutes to get this kneaded. I forgot something. I forgot the salt. So I've got some kosher salt here. I'm going to put just a small pinch. It's not too late. I can put that into the dough and then just continue to knead and mix that flour, mix that salt in there. It'll work fine. So I got my dough wonderfully smooth. It is a bit sticky, but that's all right. I don't mind that. I lightly greased a bowl, and I'm going to just loosely cover that, because as that rises, that's going to fill up over the top of that bowl. So I want that to double in bulk. That's going to take maybe an hour. I'm going to put it in a warm place on top of one of my computers, and that'll really encourage a good rise. And yes, that's a plane going overhead. While my dough is rising, I thought I would show you a trick on how I make my pizza sauce. Pizza sauce is thicker than regular spaghetti sauce, right? So start with a bowl. I put a sieve in there. I have a coffee filter. I put that in there. And then I have some spaghetti sauce, about half a jar here, because I've already done this once already. Just pour in the sauce. And I think I'm going to let that jar just sit there for a while, let it all run down. And then you cover it with plastic wrap, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and what will happen is the excess water will drip down into the bowl, and what you'll end up with is a very thick sauce. It's almost like a tomato paste. There's that dough. Look how much that rose up over the top of the bowl. And I should have greased the plastic, because look how the plastic's stuck. All right, this is going to make a mess, but I'll work with it. That's what I should have done, is you need to grease the plastic as well as the bowl. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on my counter here and on my hands. Oh, look at that. That dough, see? The dough came right out of the bowl. I should have greased the plastic. Okay, I've got to explain something before I go too much further. Here's the inside of my fryer basket, right? My air fryer. It's got these holes. I'm concerned if I cook the pizza initially on that the dough is going to come through the holes and then anchor the dough in there, and I won't be able to get my pizza out. So what I did was temporarily I carved or cut a little piece of parchment paper for the first cooking, which I'm just going to give the dough a first cook. And also, by having this parchment paper here, it'll help me to shape the dough. Get a little bit of a edge there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-bake this dough in the air fryer for, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. All right, I think I'm ready to set up my air fryer. There we go. See, I think it'll make it a lot easier to lift that out afterwards. So here is my air fryer here. I have my dough in there. That should beep. Yes, because it's plugged in. I'm going to use, I think, the temperature setting. They have it to 360, but while I'm here, I want to see if this goes up to 400. Yes, it does. 400 is the maximum, but 360 is fine for right now. And I'm going to turn the timer down to about 3 minutes. That should be enough, and then start. Okay, that's going. While this is going, I sautéed some mushrooms and some onion because I want those on my pizza, and I ran some pepperoni through the microwave to remove some excess fat, and I sliced up some cooked Italian sausage that I had. Those are all going to go on the pizza, and then I have some of my sauce. This I did earlier, and you can see how thick that is. That's some of what I took the water out. That was the first half of that jar. This is some of it. I have since used it, some of that. So, all right, let's wait for this to cook. I added another minute to this after I checked it. I felt as though it would benefit for a little bit more time. Let's see if I can easily get this out of there. Okay, so that's that. Now, I'm going to actually flip that over because the top of it is better as far as being finished off. And you notice I didn't let that rise a second time. Look how thick that is. I like a thick pizza, but not thick crust pizza, but not so thick. Putting that back in there. Get it centered somewhat. This inner pan is very hot, so working very carefully. Trying to keep my hands away from I'm going to start putting my ingredients on there. I'm going to, as much as possible, keep my hand toward the center of this inner pan. And you'll notice I also didn't preheat. Some recipes say to preheat the air fryer. Why? You take the pan out and you just leave it wide open, and therefore all that heat's going to get out. It warms the metal, but things warm up so quickly in an air fryer. Okay, just about satisfied here. I'm going to put a little bit more over here in this corner. Okay, I've got to shred some cheese. I'm going to be using 4 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese. That's about 110 grams. I zoomed in a little bit just so you could see what I'm doing. Again, this is 4 ounces of shredded mozzarella. 4 ounces is about 110 grams. I like plenty of cheese. So if this looks like a lot, it is a lot. That's what I like. Okay. Put the rest of that on there. Spread that around. The metal is still a little bit hot, but it's cooling down a little bit. In fact, enough that I can handle things. Okay, one more piece of cheese right there. And then, where's my oregano? I have some oregano. This is just dry, whole leaf oregano, just a little bit. Not much. Put some pepperoni on there. If I didn't mention it earlier, I ran the pepperoni through the microwave for about 40-45 seconds just to get the excess fat out. I mean, I don't have to make something totally dietary here, obviously. It's a pizza. So there's my pepperoni, just enough to cover the top. I chose just enough. Look at that, perfect. And then slices of cooked Italian sausage. This was about half of an Italian sausage link. Put that on there. Coming together nicely. We'll see one more piece. I'll put it right there. That's that. Where's my other ingredients? Here they are. Sautéed mushrooms. Sautéed in butter and olive oil. Love mushrooms on pizza. I like everything on pizza. Another thing I don't have is olive. I have some olives in the refrigerator, but I don't feel like slicing them up for this pizza. Okay, so there's my mushrooms. Room for one more piece right there. Maybe another piece right here. And then you can tell by the color that I lightly caramelized these. I love caramelized onion on pizza. Just cook it at a low temperature until it lightly browns. All right, wipe my hands because one of the things I like to do that I saw done in the Italian pizzerias back in Connecticut was to just drizzle some olive oil over the top. Like that. There's my assembled pizza. Put that back in the air fryer. And as I said earlier, see, I'll zoom out a little bit. That should be good right there. I want to cook this at a temperature of 400 degrees. And I'm going to start at 10 minutes. And I'll see what it looks like. 400 degrees at 10 minutes. 400 is 200 degrees Celsius. Air fryer is beeping. Let's see what it looks like inside. Oh, look at that. I was concerned that there was going to be enough browning on top, and there certainly is. All right, let me slide this out of the way. Look at that. Browned on top. I'm going to give you manufacturers of air fryers a $1 million suggestion I thought of while I was waiting. And you can just pay me 10%. I can live with that. It'll be a struggle, but I can live with that. Make the inner basket. Design it in such a way that one side wall, a side wall or the back wall, can be slid out. So it becomes easy to put something large in. Rather than having to lower it in from the top, you can slide it in from the side. Just cut it, make a removable panel. You'll make $1 million. All right, now let's see if I can get this out of there. See, this is where a sidewall, a removable sidewall, would be really handy. I need 2. Beautiful, look at that. An air fryer pizza. Let me give you a close-up of that. There it is, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's nicely browned, lightly browned around the edges, so the crust did brown nicely. It's nicely browned on top. That is just beautiful. I want to just take a peek underneath to see what the bottom looks like. And it's lightly browned on the bottom. Oh, that is beautiful. It came out fantastic, didn't it? I have some photography to do. I'm going to let this cool down a little bit, and then I'll be able to cut this and see what it tastes like. I'm ready to cut this. I think that would make like probably 6 nice little pieces. Okay. I'm just going to cut one piece here because that dough is still quite a bit soft, but the cheese isn't stringy, so that's good. Put that on a little plate for myself. Homemade air fryer pizza. Let's see what that tastes like. I haven't had homemade pizza in a long time, so I'm looking forward to this. Huh. Wonderful. I love homemade pizza anyways. I need a napkin. Whoa. That is really, that's perfect. Okay, it's like 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so to 5. So excuse me. I'm going to go enjoy my dinner of homemade air fryer pizza.